Chapter 1141. Refusal to Listen or Believe. The Time Path Immortal Killer move was already quietly activated inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was affected by the killer move. Its body's time was rapidly quickened by countless times, making it mature quickly. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle cried out, feeling extremely unwell. On one hand, it was because its body was growing rapidly, while on the other hand, it was hungry. It required many heavenly crystals to fill its stomach every day. Right now, in just one breath, a day had passed for its body, and with its body growing continuously, how could it not feel hungry? Naturally, Fang had considered this situation as well. So there was another immortal killer move which was used specially to make up for this flawed at the same time. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle huddled up in the Heavenly Crystal Eagle nest and began to eat madly. Only such a two-pronged approach could sustain its growth. This was a quick growth method and had a lot of flaws. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle had been in contact with Fang Yuan for a very short time. Now with its strength suddenly increasing, it would become more bestial and would not be easy to control. Moreover, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle's growth rate was sped up too much, and there was no way for it to adapt and get familiar with its growth, so it might not be able to use even 30% of its strength. However, Fang Yuan had no other choice. He was in a desperate situation, and this was his only hope to get out of this predicament. He was like a drowning man who was firmly grasping onto the sole life-saving straw. Myriad Self was continuously activated. The once powerful killer move had now become the only reliance for Fang Yuan to stall for time. He had used familiar face to disguise himself and mixed in among the strength path phantoms. The enemy Gu Immortals had not discovered him since the start. The tornadoes wreaked havoc, during which the enemy Gu Immortals had each made their moves, their powerful killer moves shrouding the entire battlefield. Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms could only last about 1 or 2 breaths of time before they were destroyed. He had never activated Myriad Self as frequently as now. Fortunately, Myriad Self was created by him, and by now, he was so proficient with it that it had turned into an instinct, and there had yet to be failure when activating it. However, his green grape Immortal Essence Reserve was rapidly dwindling. Regarding Immortal Essence Reserves, Fang Yuan was completely in a disadvantage. He naturally had no way to compare with the 9 enemy Gu Immortals. This guy's concealment skill is quite amazing. An enemy Gu Immortal praised, "Relax, as long as this battlefield killer move, Gray Cloud Battle Puppet, is here, we don't have to worry about him escaping." Another Gu Immortal replied, "Humph, rat-like thing, come out. The earlier you die, the earlier you can be free from suffering." The 4 rank 7 Gu Immortals did not speak, but the other 5 rank 6 Gu Immortals yelled, vainly attempting to shake Fang Yuan's will. But could Fang Yuan waver so easily? His will was firmer than steel. Even when he was in danger, he would not give up trying until the very last moment. Since he was using a stalling tactic, Fang Yuan would never reveal himself. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was growing rapidly. It already gave a trace of an ancient desolate beast's aura. As for the Heavenly Crystal Eagle nest, it was already eaten by over half. But this growth rate was still far from enough. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was the key for this battle. The enemy has the numerical advantage. Their immortal killer moves also seem to be endless. Once I take out the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle, if my breakthrough attempt fails, I will probably be immediately dealt with the next moment. I won't have any second chance. I must succeed in one try. Just as he thought of it, Fang Yuan suddenly heard a chuckle by his ear. "He found you." This was a female Gu Immortal's voiced at that instant. Fang Yuan's hair stood on end, and without caring about exposing his true self, he activated Sword Escape Immortal Gu. He flew towards the sky. Almost at the same time, frost condensed on his original spot, quickly forming into thick ice the size of a pavilion. "He's quite fast." A rank 6 Gu Immortal said in surprise. Her voice was the same voice that had sounded by Fang Yuan's ear. "Shui Er, you succeeded. Not bad." A rank 7 Gu Immortal praised. "Thank you, Great-Grandma." The female Gu Immortal seemed to be happy. "Although I cannot break through his disguise, every time he activates his killer move to create those phantoms, the aura of the killer move will leak out. He might be heavily concealed, but it is of no use. As the frequency increased, I discovered him. Good. Let me see where you can escape. Another rank 7 Gu immortal shouted, directly charging towards Fang Yuan that he was extremely fast. Shortly afterwards, he reached Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan recognized this Gu immortal. This person was the one who had shot the ice spear before. Die. The rank 7 Gu immortal clenched his fists. Instantly 2 ice spears condensed in his hands. A close combat Gu immortal? A sharp light flashed past Fang Yuan's eyes, and he quickly retreated. However, Sword Escape was actually unable to throw the enemy off. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk slightly as he noticed his body was covered in a layer of thin gray clouds that was the cause of his reduction in speed, while on the other side, the rank 7 Gu immortal's speed seemed to have been increased. If I let you escape freely, would not it make me look incompetent? The Gu immortal controlling the battlefield killer move was standing straight, with his hands folded in front of his chest, watching the battle situation from afar. Fang Yuan was forced to engage in close combat. This rank 7 Gu immortal was very powerful with outstanding fighting skill. Within several moves, Fang Yuan's left arm and stomach were pierced. Blood Asset Immortal Gu was heavily injured. Large amounts of fragmentary ice and snow path Dao marks were engraved on Fang Yuan's wounds, making them difficult to heal. Cold air entered his limbs and bones, further lowering his speed. The sovereign immortal body's disadvantage appeared for the first time. There were no conflicts between Dao marks, causing Fang Yuan to be easily injured. Previously, Fang Yuan was defending and painstakingly dodging around. But at this moment, he had no choice but to face the consequences of this weakness. Die. The enemy's offense was extremely fierce. He thrusted the ice spear in his right hand towards Fang Yuan's forehead, while quietly moving the ice spear in his left hand towards Fang Yuan's heart. Blood torrent. Fang Yuan suddenly changed his killer move, bizarrely curving around and dodging the enemy's attack. Blood path. A rank 6 among the Gu immortals blurted in shock. He is indeed an unforgivable sinner. He actually cultivates blood path. We can be considered to be eliminating an evil, helping the people of the world. I had been somewhat suspicious of that defensive killer move earlier. So it was like this. The Gu immortal dual-wielding spears was filled with even more killing intent as he pounced over again. Giant hand. Fang Yuan suddenly slammed. A strength path giant hand flew out, in such a short distance. The Gu immortal with dual spears was unable to dodge, but he had not even thought of dodging head-on. He pierced the giant hand with his 2 spears and continued to chase Fang Yuan. Since he could fight in close range, he naturally had extremely outstanding defensive methods. If not for this, how could he dare to take the risk? The 2 spears in his hands intertwined into dense spear shadows, fully displaying the advantage of a close combat Gu immortal's attack speed. Close combat Gu immortals were few in numbers. They had once flourished in ancient times, but were now almost extinct. However, if such a Gu immortal manages to get near to the opponent, they would become an extreme threat. Fang Yuan was constantly in a life and death situation. He had to pay close attention to the enemy's movements, and slight negligence could result in him dying. Fang Yuan possessed many immortal killer moves, but in close combat, in most cases, he could only concentrate on dodging. Because there was no time to use any complicated immortal killer moves, and once his response was delayed, it could be his death. Fang Yuan's momentum was already destroyed. He was barely able to continue for a while before the enemy finally found a gap and pierced a spear through his heart. It is over. At this moment, the enemy's expression was slightly relaxed. Man as before. As Fang Yuan erupted, he used man as before immortal Gu to restore the fatal injuries. Then, using dark assassination, he shot towards the enemy's head in an instant. Fang Yuan had established his victory. He had been concealing man as before, waiting for this battle opportunity. Sounds of shock rose. But the Gu immortals were not angry the next instant. Fang Yuan saw a strange sight. The enemy's head was not made of blood and flesh, and was completely formed from gray clouds. The gray clouds scattered before condensing, and the dual spear-wielding Gu immortal shook his newly formed head, laughing. Not bad. You could actually destroy my head, Human Gu immortals are so crafty. If it were normal times, I would have already died. Unfortunately, this is within gray cloud battle puppet, an immortal-level battlefield. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk to pin-sized. He suffered a loss. Not knowing the mechanism of this battlefield killer move led to an error in judgment. Although this is the first time I have heard of Gray Cloud Battle Puppet, it is truly a fierce battlefield killer move. Fang Yuan let out a breath. His whole body was filled with injuries that he had intentionally concealed man as before and used it at the crucial time. But his painstaking plan had been thwarted by Gray Cloud Battle Puppet. That goes without saying. This was created by Lady Earth Mother. The dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal spoke with pride. Fang Yuan took the chance to look at his immortal aperture. The upper extreme heavenly eagle had already grown into an immemorial desolate beast. However, it was near death. The heavenly crystals were already finished, and it was now starving to death. Fang Yuan quickly dispelled the effect of the immortal killer move on the upper extreme heavenly eagle and attempted to feed other things to it. However, the upper extreme heavenly eagle kept its mouth closed. Damn it. Earlier, I was too busy dealing with the enemy. I simply had no time to be concerned about the upper extreme heavenly eagle's situation. Fang Yuan's heart sank to rock bottom. His final trace of hope was gone in this battlefield killer move. The enemies could not die. Fang Yuan did not have any strategy to ensure his victory. Dealing with just one rank 7 Gu Immortal was difficult. Not to mention there was also the dragon immemorial desolate beast that had not moved from the start. What now? Death was already approaching close. Young man, leave your name. You are a worthy adversary. After this life of mine, my battle with you shall be remembered as a glory by my descendants. The dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal pressed on forward. The atmosphere was solemn. Other Gu Immortals did not speak anything to stop him, seemingly approving of the dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal's words. Fang Yuan, however, revealed a confident smile. My name is not important. What is important is my status. I am a supreme elder of Lang Ya Blessed Land, a member of a variant human force. In the current situation of the world, we variant humans should not take up arms against each other. Isn't that the case? Snowmen, rockmen, and hairy men should help each other, not have internal fights which will instead please enemies. How do you know? The dual-wielding Gu Immortal was extremely surprised. He actually knows of our identities. Quick, kill him. Human Gu Immortals have always been crafty. Don't listen to his misleading words. The other Gu Immortals cried out, almost screaming. What Lang Ya Blessed Land? Also, you are clearly a human. What hairy man? Do you think I am blind? The dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal furiously pierced forward with his spears. Fang Yuan exposed their identities, but they simply did not listen to or believe Fang Yuan's words. Chapter 1142, Bluffing, Deceiving. The dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal rushed towards Fang Yuan. Variant humans are indeed stubborn? Or is this the influence of heaven's will? Fang Yuan's gaze turned dark. He looked at the dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal charging at him, but he did not dodge or retreat. Boom! At the next moment, he opened the entrance to his sovereign immortal aperture and released a gigantic beast. This is... The dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal felt a majestic aura that instantly overwhelmed his body and mind. His momentum stopped abruptly, and his battle intent had dispersed at that very instant. What Fang Yuan released was none other than the upper extreme heavenly eagle that had now matured to immemorial level. A truly mature upper extreme heavenly eagle was extremely huge, multiple times the size of a whale. It did not lose out even when compared to that immemorial dragon desolate beast. The immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle was a terrifying rank 8 level battle force. Shock. Instantly, the enemy immortals were all shocked and dumbstruck. They had never expected Fang Yuan to still be holding such a card in reserve. This trump card was too strong. The dual spear-wielding Gu Immortal was almost trembling from fear. The atmosphere of the whole battlefield had instantly transformed completely. Fang Yuan stood proudly on the upper extreme heavenly eagle's head and coldly snorted. Why do you think I was fearless since the start? Even if your battlefield killer move is powerful, could it obstruct my upper extreme heavenly eagle? The enemy immortals' bodies jolted upon hearing this. Upper extreme heavenly eagle. According to legends, this eagle is a space path immemorial desolate beast that can avoid the heavenly wind chi wall and enter the immemorial 9 heavens. Not only this, it can also pierce through space and enter grotto heavens. Our battlefield killer move cannot trap it. The group of immortals communicated in fluster. Fang Yuan had a confident smile on his face. Even if you use that dragon immemorial desolate beast, I am confident of escaping. But what I said before is all true. I simply don't need to deceive you. And even if I wanted to deceive you, such a shoddy lie could easily be exposed. Why would I waste my time? The enemy immortals fell into silence. The mountain-like upper extreme heavenly eagle was the best evidence of Fang Yuan's words. The dual spear-wielding Gu immortal was the nearest. The upper extreme heavenly eagle filled his whole vision. Despite the upper extreme heavenly eagle slightly closing its eyes, the cold light leaking out of the crack of its eyes still made him feel like he had fallen into an icy abyss. Did you verify it? Is it real or not? The Gu immortals secretly transmitted their voices to IT was rather ironic. Just before, when Fang Yuan was ambushed and saw this terrifying battle formation, the first thing he felt was doubt at whether this was real or an illusion. Now, after Fang Yuan released the upper extreme heavenly eagle, these Gu immortals were experiencing the same thing. It is real. That rank 6 Gu immortal called Shui Air spoke with shock. Moreover, that upper extreme heavenly eagle's vitality is extremely flourishing. Don't be fooled by its unmoving and harmless look. Once it attacks, it would definitely be earth-shaking. Soon, the rank 7 Gu immortals confirmed one after the other. He only has a blessed land. How could he store an immemorial desolate beast? Although it is unimaginable, it is the truth. What should we do? He can use an immemorial desolate beast. Could it be that we also have to send out the immemorial rock dragon? In fact, the dragon beast in Gray Cloud Battle Puppet was not as intimidating as it appeared. Although the aura was real, it could not fully display its rank 8 battle strength. There were many reasons. Gray Cloud Battle Puppet did not have a core rank 8 immortal Gu, and was not suitable for use on rank 8 level existences. Another reason was, the Snowman and Rockman Gu immortals' main bodies were far below underground. They put in their respective Gu worms and immortal essence in this Gray Cloud Battle Puppet, forming battle puppets that were not weaker than the main bodies. That is to say, the power of Gray Cloud Battle Puppet originated from the remote control of the Gu immortals, and the immortal essence along with Gu worms concealed in the battle puppets. The battlefield killer move could form a Gray Cloud Battle Puppet corresponding to the immemorial rock dragon, but the immemorial rock dragon did not have a Gu immortal's intelligence, let alone remote controlling the puppet. It could not even freely use immortal Gu. As such, it was unable to manifest its strength. That was the reason for this rank 8 battle strength to not move even the slightest since the start of the battle. It was instead Fang Yuan who was cautious and did not dare to even risk probing it. Naturally, this was common sense. Just like now, the dual spear-wielding Gu immortal was stunned and did not dare to attack the upper extreme heavenly eagle. When Fang Yuan released the upper extreme heavenly eagle, the situation completely transformed. The rank 8 battle strength on the variant human Gu immortal's side was only a facade. While they were unaware of the details regarding Fang Yuan and thought they were on the weaker side, and Fang Yuan, he was also not clear of the variant human Gu immortals, and also did not know if the immemorial dragon beast was only there for show. He also felt his strength was on the weaker side. As far as the truth was concerned, Fang Yuan's judgment was correct. Right now, Fang Yuan was feeling rather tense. The upper extreme heavenly eagle was about to die from hunger, and he had to use blood path methods to disguise it to look like it had flourishing vitality. Once it was attacked, this disguise would fail. However, the other side did not dare to attack. The reason? Once they attacked, if they could not kill their enemy and let him escape, that would be a very troublesome situation. Even if they summoned the immemorial rock dragon from the deep underground, if the upper extreme heavenly eagle wanted to escape, they would not be able to stop it, since Fang Yuan exposed their identities. He also knew of their misgivings. Their identities, once there. Identities of the snowmen and rockmen were exposed to Northern Plains Gu immortal world. It would immediately lead to invasion from the righteous path, demonic path, and lone cultivators. Human forces were strong and had killed on their path to reach this age since the immemorial antiquity era. They absolutely would not let such a huge variant human superforce to exist beside them. Thus, when the variant human Gu immortals ambushed Fang Yuan, they had concealed their appearances. The variant human Gu immortals had even mobilized 9 Gu immortals and moved out an immemorial desolate beast to suppress the situation, just to handle Fang Yuan. One person.it was to make sure there was no mishap, but even in such a foolproof plan, there were many mishaps because of Fang Yuan alone. Finally, he even brought out an immemorial desolate beast, upper extreme heavenly eagle. If they had known this earlier, how could the variant human Gu immortals still lay in ambush and end up in this current awkward situation of not knowing what to do? Fang Yuan waited for a while. The variant human Gu immortals did not speak. He shook his head and gave a helpless smile. All right, I have already said this. Why are you still not believing me? Could it be that you really want us to fight to the death? Naturally, I won't be the one to die. How could we trust you, a human? A rank 7 Gu immortal said with anger. Fang Yuan heaved a sigh of relief inwardly. Since the other side spoke, that means they had been deceived. He got the opportunity. Now it would depend on his performance. Thereupon, Fang Yuan activated familiar face. Immortal killer moves aura spread everywhere. The variant human Gu immortals immediately became vigilant. The dual spear-wielding Gu immortal even retreated far away. However, what came next shocked the variant human Gu immortals, as they looked on with wide eyes at Fang Yuan transforming into a hairy man. With no flaws. I am a transformation path Gu immortal, and I inherited a portion of the true inheritance of Ren Wang. I could easily deceive you all by transforming into a hairy man. But why did I not do so? Fang Yuan spoke in sincere fashion as he spread his arms and turned back to his previous appearance. The variant human Gu immortals quietly looked at him. Fang Yuan continued to bullshit. I did it as an act of sincerity to you. Since I realized your identities just moments ago, then we can be considered people on the same side. Although I am a human Gu immortal, I am truly a member of Langya Blessed Land. Langya Blessed Land's origin is long-hair ancestor. Currently, under Langya Land Spirit's lead, Langya sect has been created, and I am one of the supreme elders of the sect. If you believe me, then open up the battlefield killer move, and I will send a message to inform the sect of this matter. The variant human Gu immortals looked at each other, but nobody moved. Both sides were at a stalemate. Fang Yuan did not dare to let their minds wander. After all, Heaven's will was influencing them. To dispel Heaven's will's influence, Fang Yuan had to continue to talk and change their minds that Heaven's will was not fake will, and its influence over variant human Gu immortals was not high. After all, the intelligence of variant humans was second to only humans. It was because of this that Fang Yuan had hope. All right, I will show my sincerity first. Fang Yuan suddenly sighed and opened his immortal aperture, placing the upper extreme heavenly eagle inside. This move shocked all the variant human Gu immortals. Careful. Although the upper extreme heavenly eagle has been placed inside, it can rely on its power to come out of the aperture and make a move at any time. Enough. Dispel Gray Cloud Battle Puppet. Leader, could it be that you still think Gray Cloud Battle Puppet can trap him? The other variant human Gu immortals were unable to reply. From what they saw, the truth was indeed like that. Amidst the stifling silence, the killer move Gray Cloud Battle Puppet was slowly dispelled. Fang Yuan's vision was once again filled with the sight of the bright landscape of northern plains. He strongly endured the impulse of making an immediate getaway. Speaking to these variant human Gu immortals, good. Friends are often made after a fight. I will immediately notify Langya sect, staying here and waiting for the sect to send Gu immortals. Fang Yuan's joyful attitude was naturally a disguise, but with his acting along with attitude Gu, there was no flaw at all. At least, these variant human Gu immortals did not notice any flaw. Adding on that Fang Yuan did not run away. It gave even more proof of the truth of his words. Then we shall invite you to make a visit underground as a guest. Here, the other gray clouds had all dispersed, while only a Rockman Gu immortal's physical body was remaining. He was the person controlling Gray Cloud Battle Puppet. Ha! Please lead the way. Fang Yuan followed this Rockman Gu immortal into the underground part of this icy plain. The facts proved that Heaven's will's influence towards Gu immortals was not remarkable. At least, Fang Yuan was able to use words to dispel this influence. Naturally, it was on the basis of the upper extreme heavenly eagle.it was because of the existence of the immemorial desolate beast that these variant human goo immortals changed their minds. After all, Heaven's will could not destroy these goo immortals' rationality. Challenging an immemorial desolate beast would be looking for death to eye in the depths below the icy plane. There was a scenic and beautiful world of its own. Fang Yuan was vaguely encircled by several goo immortals as they led him, while he looked at the underground scenery absent-mindedly. The variant human goo immortals were also in the same situation, until Langya's sect sent a group of hairy man goo immortals to this place. 12th hair and 6th hair were among them. Chapter 1143. I am rejoicing. Chapter 1143. I am rejoicing. Northern icy plain, deep underground. Within a large hall, stone chairs and tables were arranged in a circle. Thick vines grew on the walls and grass grew between the cracks of the rocks. 3 bonfires were burning high at the center of the hall. It is said that this was a tradition passed down from the olden antiquity era. When variant humans attend to esteemed guests, they would set up a banquet and burn 3 bonfires. Snowman, Rockman, and Hairy Man goo immortals, as well as Fang Yuan, were seated inside the hall. The fire shone on every person's face and their smiles could be seen. All kinds of fruits were laid in front of everyone, and soon, Rockman servants served each person a large bowl of wine. This is our Rockman tribe's lip fish wine. Have a taste. Shizong stood up from his seat and called out while holding the wine bowl. Shizong was this Rockman tribe's first supreme elder. He had not joined the battle to kill Fang Yuan. His whole body shone with many colors from the countless gold, silver, and pearl ornaments inlaid on him. This was the style of Rockman tribes. Rockman bodies were made completely of rocks, and in their long period of life, all kinds of gold, silver, iron, and steel ores would grow on their bodies. Rockmen took this as a symbol of good looks and honor. The higher the position of the Rockman, the more extravagant ornaments they would have on them. Not only Shizong, several other Rockman goo immortals present on the scene were the same. Since Shizong had invited it, all the immortals held up their wine bowls in response. Shizong and the other immortals took big gulps of the wine. The hairy men did the same. Only Fang Yuan took a small sip. After Shizong had finished drinking, he put down the bowl which did not even have a drop of wine remaining. Cheers broke out. Other goo immortals also imitated him and drank down all the wine in their bowls. The immortals laughed. The calm atmosphere became lively. Only Fang Yuan put down the wine bowl, having only drunken a bit of the lip fish wine. The Snowman and Rockman goo immortals turned a blind eye to this. Instead, the dissension rose from within the hairy man goo immortals. 6th hair criticized Fang Yuan. Elder Fang Yuan, what are you doing? Don't you know your action is impolite? The host finished the wine. You, as a guest, should also follow and not leave behind any wine in your bowl. This is respect towards the host. Ah, I forgot you are a human and not one of us variant humans. No wonder you don't know this tradition passed down from the remote antiquity era. 6th hair was a spy placed in Langya's sect by Shadow Sect. He took advantage of every chance to cause trouble for Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan sneered. His gaze scanned around before he spoke leisurely. How would I not know of this tradition? It is just that this lip fish wine is the saliva left behind by underground rockfish. I don't like drinking it. You. 6th hair's expression looked dark, but he was happy inwardly. Fang Yuan's words were no doubt offending the other side, which was what he intended. In Fang Yuan's letter to Langya's sect to notify the land spirit. He had naturally not mentioned everything, and only explained the matter roughly. 6th hair and the others did not know that Fang Yuan had brought out an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle in the life and death battle with the snowmen and rockmen, before he could make the other side compromise. In fact, when Fang Yuan had joined Langya's sect, Langya Land Spirit had issued a mission to find variant human allies. Since Fang Yuan had found them, he naturally completed this mission and was sure to receive rewards from Langya's sect. A member of Shadow Sect, 6th hair did not want to see Fang Yuan obtain benefits and develop. Right now, he spoke up to try and suppress Fang Yuan. Haha, since Elder Fang Yuan does not like this wine, then we shall change to another one. Bring out the Ice Wolf wine from my winery. A snowman goo immortal laughed. Snowman had snow-white skin. ice blue pupils, and aqua blue hair. This snowman goo immortal was robust and strong. His upper body was bare, revealing a dark blue tattoo on his chest. His aqua blue hair was tied up, revealing a firm and dauntless face. This person's name was Bing Zhua. He was that dual spear-wielding goo immortal who had made Fang Yuan struggle bitterly. Soon, a snowman's servant brought the wine. This was a wine bowl made from ice. The wine inside was almost frozen and released cold air. To tell the truth, I myself don't like drinking lip fish wine, so I brewed this wine. How about giving it a taste? Bing Zhua passionately spoke. Fang Yuan swept his gaze at the wine and intentionally spoke without proper respect. Let me taste it then. Let's see if it is to my taste or not. Please. Bing Zhua laughed. Fang Yuan drank a gulp. The first instance this wine entered his mouth, it was icy cold, but when it entered his throat, it became hot like fire. The feeling of ice and fire immediately made Fang Yuan's eyes brighten as he spoke. Good wine. Ha ha ha. Bing Zhua laughed loudly. Since you like it, then please drink some more. He had just finished speaking when the immortals saw Fang Yuan lift the whole bowl and drink it down in one gulp. The immortals were dazed for a moment, before applauding and cheering loudly. Fang Yuan discreetly glanced at Sixth Hair while laughing internally. He had already known Sixth Hair's intention. Sixth Hair would not let any mishaps happen to Fang Yuan. Because after Shadow Sect saves Spectral Soul's main body, their next target would be Fang Yuan. Because of this, Sixth Hair would not harm Fang Yuan's life. Sixth Hair could only suppress Fang Yuan at most, and delay his growth to make it easier for Shadow Sect in the future. Sixth Hair had already done this before, making Fang Yuan's relation with Langya's sect turn cold. However, how could he have ever expected Fang Yuan to have an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle and moreover, that he had used it to successfully awe the snowmen and rockmen, in immemorial level battle strength. These variant human goo immortals had no choice but to give respect to it. This was strength. In their hearts, no matter how Sixth Hair provoked or smeared, Fang Yuan's importance was much greater than all the hairy man goo immortals combined that in fact, variant humans very strongly revered strength. This was one of the characteristics of variant humans that had passed down since the immemorial antiquity era. Because be it the era of eating raw flesh and drinking blood, or the period of war between different races, or the era when they were slaughtered by humans, great strength had always brought more space to survive and opportunities to these variant humans that it was instead the humans who, after becoming the overlord of the 5 regions and having an unshakable position, stopped having as much reverence for strength as before. It could not compare to these variant humans who were barely surviving at some isolated parts of the world. Fang Yuan had intentionally made things difficult, and as far as these variant human goo immortals were concerned, it was normal. What expert did not have some attitude? If Fang Yuan did not display it, they would instead feel uneasy. Fang Yuan knew the mentality of these variant human goo immortals very well. Naturally, he also had another reason for it. That was to probe their intentions. Now, Fang Yuan was basically completely confident that he was safe. What's going on? Looking at the variant human goo immortals' smiling expressions, Sixth Hair was greatly shocked. Next, almost all snowman and rockman goo immortals approached Fang Yuan, while leaving aside the hairy man goo immortals. Elder Fang Yuan, here, I will toast you. Elder Fang Yuan sure is a great drinker. Fang Yuan did not refuse them. He drank each time. The hairy man goo immortals looked at each other in confusion. Sixth Hair was extremely bewildered. What magic bewitchment has Fang Yuan used? He is actually so greatly welcomed. If Fang Yuan had turned into a hairy man's appearance, then maybe it could make sense. But he was in his original form, which was a genuine human. Elder Fang Yuan, I, Shui Air, shall pour wine for you. During the feast, a beautiful female snowman goo immortal actually walked over to Fang Yuan and took up the work of a servant, pouring the ice wolf wine for Fang Yuan. The other hairy man goo immortals looked on with wide eyes. Sixth Hair almost shouted out, "What the hell are you all doing? Are you even variant humans?" Fang Yuan is clearly a human goo immortal. Human. The humans who had slaughtered and marginalized you variant humans. Shui Air, you are that snowman who discovered my true body. Fang Yuan brazenly sized up this female snowman immortal. and asked. The female snowman lowered her head and gave a coy smile. I am only good at some investigative methods. Elder Fang Yuan is the true hero. 12th Hare had been drinking wine, but when he heard these words, he could not help spurting out the wine. 6th Hare looked like he was about to fly into a rage, almost cursing at the female Gu immortal. What is your intention? Hey, why is your face red? What are you doing by lowering your head and acting shy? Still taking sneaky glances at Fang Yuan. You think I can't see your expression? Damn it. Are you a snowman or not? Pay attention to your identity. I don't deserve the title of hero. Fang Yuan laughed half-heartedly. Even he himself was somewhat surprised. The attitude of these variant human Gu immortals seemed to have changed a little too much. Bing Zhuo walked over at this moment, while holding his wine bowl. If Elder Fang Yuan is not a hero, then who can still claim to be a hero? Shui Er gave a timely introduction. This is Brother Bing Zhuo. He is the strongest in our tribe. Normally he is cold and extremely prideful. Only when talking with Elder Fang Yuan is he this passionate. Fang Yuan stood up and assessed this Gu immortal. If I am not wrong, you are the person who dual-wielded spears and fought with me for dozens of rounds. Bing Zhuo laughed, giving a thumbs up. Elder Fang Yuan, you have a good eye for detail. Fang Yuan did not continue gossiping and directly chugged down the wine. Bing Zhuo was overjoyed and also chugged down his wine. Cheers rose up once again, while Shui Er clapped from the side. Heroes attract heroes. The hairy man Gu immortals looked on, dumbfounded. No one was paying attention to them. The other side's Gu immortals were all looking at Fang Yuan. 6th Hare almost slammed the table. Bing Zhuo's attitude was making him feel worse. He mentally screamed, "What in the world are you guys doing? Forget about that female Gu immortal named Shui Er. Fang Yuan's current appearance is quite handsome. What are you, a man, being so excited for? Look at your laughing expression. You look like you want to be sworn brothers with Fang Yuan. What are you thinking? The strongest in your tribe and also a hero? Being this close with a human Gu immortal, you want to betray your tribe?" Bing Zhuo sighed. Compared to Elder Fang Yuan, how could I be considered a hero? Elder Fang Yuan possesses an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle. If Elder Fang Yuan was not on the same side as us, we might have provoked a disaster for our tribes. While what? Immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle. In an instant, the hairy man Gu immortals looked at each other in shock. Elder Fang Yuan, I didn't hear wrongly, right? You actually have an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle. 6th Hare finally could not endure it. He stood up suddenly and stared fixedly at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan rubbed his nose and said with a slightly embarrassed expression, "Not long ago, I allied with Chu Du to get to Hei Fan Grotto Heaven and take Hei Fan's true inheritance. This upper extreme heavenly eagle is one of the gains." What? The hairy man Gu immortals exclaimed in shock. Meanwhile, the snowman and rockman Gu immortals also exchanged looks with each other. 6th Hare took a step back unconsciously, staring at Fang Yuan incredulously, and then looking at the other Gu immortals. In that instant, he finally realized and understood why these variant human Gu immortals gave so much importance to Fang Yuan. Immemorial desolate beast. Rank 8 battle strength. Plop. 6th Hare could not bear such a huge impact. His legs gave way, and he sat down again on the stone chair. I did not have the time to inform all of you. Come, let us Langya sect members have a drink. This calls for a celebration. Fang Yuan smiled and raised his wine bowl. The hairy man Gu immortals reacted, revealing joyous expressions. Our Langya sect also has rank 8 battle strength now. Elder Fang Yuan, you are truly unfathomable, simply amazing. Elder Fang Yuan, it was my mistake in the incident earlier. I had eyes but failed to recognize Tianti Mountain. The hairy man Gu immortals all had looks of acceptance. This was the prestige of rank 8 battle strength. 6th Hare also rose his wine bowl with a smile, while inwardly, he was spurting blood from anger. Fang Yuan glanced at him, smiling. Elder 6th Hare, why are your hands trembling? 6th Hare smiled towards him. He indeed was a spy who had lurked for many years. His expression did not show any flaws. It was just his voice that had turned somewhat hoarse. This is because I am extremely excited for you, Elder Fang Yuan, and for Langya sect. I am rejoicing. Chapter 1144, Refining Gu, Grand Commotion. Snow descended slowly and quietly. There was no wind, that a series of snowy mountain peaks formed a range, that a couple were snuggling each other near the window, looking outside at the snowy landscape. There was a warm atmosphere in the room. The wife was neat and graceful. Some white color was already beginning to show in her hair. She leaned on her husband's arm and spoke with nostalgia. "It has been so long since I watched the snowy landscape with you this serenely." Her husband already looked old, but was in good health. He comfortingly patted his wife's arm with his aged hand and spoke slowly. "I would like to stay with you always and watch the snowflakes fall quietly. Do you still remember the time we first met?" His wife chuckled. The joyous memory seemed to be resurfacing in front of her eyes. "That was also a snowy day. You were still hot-headed, wanting to become stronger and stronger." "I wanted to become stronger. Wasn't it for the sake of becoming worthy of you? Back then, you said you would marry me when I cultivate to rank 8. Hee hee." The old man laughed. His laughter had some craftiness as well as some pride. His wife's smile, however, shrank slightly, and her brows furrowed. "To tell the truth, I regret it a little. I would rather your cultivation be slightly lower. To be your husband, how could I have lower cultivation level? Rest assured, as long as we refine fortune rivaling heaven immortal goo, I have confidence in passing this myriad tribulation. Then our future will be boundless as the sea and sky, and I can stay with you forever." As he said this, the old man's sight slowly became sharper, revealing an extraordinarily powerful aura. His aura went from weak to strong, continuously growing stronger. As time passed, it actually flowed outside, causing the surrounding snowflakes to stop falling and float in front of him. His wife slowly moved away from him, quietly looking at the snowy landscape as a firm will emerged in her eyes. "Let us begin." After a long while, the old man spoke, breaking the silence. His wife only replied with one word: "Okay." Old ancestor Shui Hu and Lady Wan Shou began refining fortune rivaling heaven immortal goo. On this day, gorgeous lights shot out to the sky from snowy mountain-blessed land. Unable to be hidden or concealed, Northern Plains goo immortal world had yet to recover from the commotion of He tribe's annihilation, but now, it fell into upheaval once again. Old ancestor Shui Hu had begun refining rank 8 fortune rivaling heaven goo. This news was like a whirlwind that engulfed the whole Northern Plains. Goo immortal world, Feng Xian grotto heaven, such a grand show, as if he is afraid others won't come to wreck his plan. But this is indeed old Shui Hu style. Prince Feng Xian chuckled indifferently at the news. "Lord, if we let old ancestor Shui Hu successfully refine the rank 8 immortal goo, I am afraid he would just get much stronger." Goo immortal Yulan spoke from beside Prince Feng Xian. "Even without fortune rivaling heaven goo, he is still the #1 expert of Northern Plains. Our current task is to capture Fang Yuan. We have already obtained news from that side. Heavenly Court has deduced and confirmed Fang Yuan is in Northern Plains." Prince Feng Xian laughed, his eyes shining with cold light. His hatred towards Fang Yuan was deep. The reason? Because Prince Feng Xian's original task had been to infiltrate 88 True Yang building. But the grand plan was destroyed by Fang Yuan, causing his many years of waiting to go down the drain. Could he not feel hatred? By Zhu Grotto Heaven, old ancestor Shui, who has been fiddling around for these years, he finally decided to act. Heavenly Lord Baizu mumbled, then shook his head. After that battle with old ancestor Shui Hu, Heavenly Lord Baizu was even more aware of the other side's strength. Just I alone am absolutely not old ancestor Shui Hu's opponent. Also, wrecking his refinement plan would mean I will be an irreconcilable enemy of him. But I have now established Baizu tribe. This is the result of many years of planning and arduous work. I cannot make a move lightly. Unless Yao Huang and some other people want to make a move, before they show any signs, I should concentrate on invading that He Fan Grotto Heaven instead. Yao Huang Grotto Heaven. A large cauldron was floating in front of Yao Huang. It was made from cauldron strength immortal goo. Inside the cauldron were countless immortal materials. The blazing fire below, it was constantly melting these immortal materials into liquid and fusing them. When he heard the news of old ancestor Shui Hu's goo refinement, the fire heating the cauldron trembled. Yao Huang sighed and mumbled to himself, fighting with old Shui Hu is not wise. Instead, I just need to concentrate on refining this resurrection from the dead immortal goo. And I will also possess a rank 8 immortal goo and solve the issue of lifespan. Longevity heaven. Look at those lights soaring to the sky. Old ancestor Shui who has really started refining fortune, rivaling heaven goo. Even if he is a rank 8 goo immortal, he is too audacious to dare to covet giant sun immortal venerables immortal goo. Longevity heaven was giant sun immortal venerables grotto heaven. The goo immortals who lived inside were descendants of giant sun immortal venerable with the closest bloodline connection to him. They naturally did not want to see fortune rivaling heaven goo falling into an outsider's hands. However, they were unable to make a move because of one person, 5 Elements Grandmaster. Elder Fang Yuan, please come in. This is our tribe's sacred land. Earth Mother Altar. Sure Chung respectfully guided Fang Yuan. This Rockman Gu immortal was only rank 6, but he controlled the immortal battlefield killer move, Gray Cloud Battle Puppet. He was clearly a character representing the next generation of the Rockmen. Following with him was also the rank 6 female Gu immortal from the Snowman tribe, Shui. Right now, some days had already passed since the banquet. The allied tribes of Snowmen and Rockmen living here treated Fang Yuan and the Hairy Man Gu immortals with utmost cordiality. According to Lang Ya Land Spirit's arrangement, Sixth Hair and the others were responsible for negotiating about cooperation and alliance between both sides. As for Fang Yuan, he was accompanied to tour around and view the scenery, becoming familiar with the lifestyle of these variant humans. Over these last few days, Fang Yuan had deep insight. These snowmen and rockmen were living and hiding below the northern icy plain, but they were filled with awareness of crisis and were extremely strict in the upbringing of their later generations, almost to the point of cruelty. This led to generations after generations of powerful variant human Gu immortals. Compared to them, Heifan Grotto Heaven's Gu immortals formed an extremely clear contrast. Elder Fang Yuan, didn't you ask me yesterday why there is such earth and soil below the northern icy plain? You will know once you enter. Shui giggled. Okay. Fang Yuan nodded, being somewhat curious. When he entered Earth Mother Altar and saw 2 statues enshrined at the center, he was left staring. He was shocked, because he saw a female human immortal hugging a Rockman Gu immortal's arm. The 2 were looking into the distance with blissful expressions, looking like they had lived a charmed life together. This is the 27th First Supreme Elder of my tribe, Shermu. The one beside him is his wife, my tribe's most respected Lady Earth Mother. Of course, as you can see, Lady Earth Mother is a human Gu immortal. Sure Chung introduced. This was somewhat unthinkable that a female human immortal actually fell in love with a Rockman Gu immortal and was enshrined and respected by the later generations of Rockmen to this degree. Shui continued. Lady Earth Mother was kind and benevolent. Her love transcends race. She was deeply saddened that the Rockman tribe did not have land for survival, and not long after Lord Shermu passed away, she also died of her own accord to be with her love. For the sake of the later generations, her Dao marks and blessed land turned into this underground land, allowing Rockmen to have a foundation for survival. Fang Yuan firmly stared at this couple's statues. His mind was surging frantically, because this Earth Mother, whom the Rockmen and Snowmen respected and revered, he actually knew her. Naturally, he and Earth Mother were not people of the same time period. There would normally not have been any link between them. The reason why Fang Yuan could recognize Earth Mother's identity was because he had soul-searched He Chung, because Earth Mother was the missing He Feng Yu of He tribe, old ancestor He Fan's most beloved granddaughter. Who could have expected that He Feng Yu disappeared as a result of hiding her own identity? She fell in love with a Rockman Gu immortal. This definitely would not have been accepted by the tribe, and even more so, would not have been accepted by the human Gu immortals in Northern Plains. As for why she fell in love and stayed with a Rockman Gu immortal, there definitely must have been a hidden story. Fang Yuan was expressionless, but was inwardly sighing, and no matter what the truth of the past was, he had no intention to excavate it. Every person had their own life to lead, their own loved and hated enemies. Right? Shui had been secretly observing Fang Yuan, and seeing Fang Yuan having no expression of disgust or anger, her whole heart felt joyous. She then looked at the statues of Shermu and Earth Mother dazedly, speaking with certain intent. I won't hide it from Elder Fang Yuan. From my perspective, love has no boundaries. Whether it be rockmen or humans, both have the possibility of existing together and the right to love each other. Fang Yuan went absent-minded that a beautiful white figure flashed across his eyes, but it disappeared shortly afterwards. The 500 years of my first life. His gaze turned deep and serene. He slightly realized now why this group of snowmen and rockmen accepted him so easily after knowing Fang Yuan was on the same side. From a certain aspect, Fang Yuan could also be considered to have received Earth Mother's help. Actually, we were compelled by the situation to fight with Elder Fang Yuan. Elder Fang Yuan must also be clear on how the northern icy plain was formed. This was previously a pure icy land. Only with Lady Earth Mother's profound methods did this area start gathering earth chi and form this soil. Shi Chung earnestly continued. However, when a Gu immortal faces their tribulation in the northern icy plain, it would draw in and consume heaven and earth chi. Every time the earth chi is weakened, the northern icy plain will get more unstable, and the land we can live on will decrease by a portion in area. Fang Yuan nodded. He already knew of this reason during the banquet. Now his understanding had become even deeper. This is my fault. If I had known this before, I would not have undergone my calamity in the northern icy plain. Fang Yuan earnestly spoke. Shi Chung and Shui Er's face brightened. If misunderstandings can be solved, that is for the best. Shi Chung spoke. Right at this time, Shi Cheng's expression changed. Shortly afterwards, Shui Er's expression also changed. What's wrong? Fang Yuan quickly asked. Lights are soaring to the sky from snowy mountain-blessed land. Our information claims that old ancestor Shui, who has begun refining fortune rivaling heaven Gu. Shi Chung spoke in a heavy tone. Any human growing stronger was grievous news to variant humans. Shui Er's eyes shifted to Fang Yuan. Elder Fang Yuan, you used spring-autumn cicada to rebirth and are an otherworldly demon. You even destroyed 88 True Yang building by your own hands. I would like to ask if old ancestor Shui who succeeds in refining fortune rivaling heaven Gu in the future? Chapter 1145. Rank 8 determines the situation. A number of days had passed since the hairy man Gu immortals from Langya's sect came in touch and started discussing with this group of snowmen and rockmen. The more they talked, the more they found common topics between each other. This was decided by the external factors. Human forces were incomparably big, while the variant human tribes could only barely survive in isolated parts of the world, like this place. They were naturally inclined towards allying. Although Sixth Hair was a spy inserted by Shadow Sect into Langya's sect, he did not oppose the alliance of the two sides, instead even working hard for it. That on one hand, Sixth Hair knew very well that just by himself, he could not make the two sides turn hostile to each other. On another hand, Sixth Hair also took this chance to show his skills and obtain more contribution points, letting Langya Land Spirit put more trust in him and increasing his status. Finally, Shadow Sect's goal was Spectral Soul's goal. Although the demon Venerable had died, his aspirations were already beyond the boundaries of race. Both sides discussed, each understanding more about the other. Sixth Hair even sold almost all the intel about Fang Yuan to get more trust from the other side. Thus, snowmen and rockmen knew how special Fang Yuan's status was. Fang Yuan once possessed spring-autumn cicada and was a person who had been reborn. He was also an otherworldly demon who came from a foreign world. He was also the main culprit for the destruction of 88 True Yang building, an imperial court-blessed land. It was worth mentioning that the last point made the variant human Gu immortals feel even closer to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan destroyed 88 True Yang building, greatly weakening the human forces of northern plains, which was an extremely good thing to variant human forces. They were so joyous that, in the past, when they heard about 88 True Yang building's destruction, this allied group of snowmen and rockmen even had a banquet for 3 days and 3 nights inside Earth Mother altar. Hearing Shui Er ask about the future, Fang Yuan replied with a bitter smile, having already prepared beforehand. Although I had spring-autumn cicada, I have already lost this mystical Gu. After I was reborn, there have been many changes in the world. You also know that I made 88 true Yang building collapse, right? Yes, Elder Fang Yuan. You are truly amazing, Shui Er said with bright eyes. I also feel extreme admiration towards you about this. Shi Cheng also added. Fang Yuan rubbed his nose and sighed. I am a person who had been reborn and knew some secrets. Although I am not of the Huang Jin bloodline, I participated in the fight for imperial court to get some benefits from 88 true Yang building. My original plan was to visit time after time to get unending benefits. But plans can't keep up with changes, some accidents happened, and I could only adapt to the circumstances, finally causing the collapse of 88 true Yang building. Shui Er and Shi Cheng revealed joyous smiles. Shi Cheng said, Elder Fang Yuan's words make sense. Fang Yuan shook his head in helpless fashion. Who wants to be chased by all the Gu immortals in the world? That was truly an accident. Shui Er smiled. From what I see, Elder Fang Yuan, you are a natural hero, although you destroyed 88 true Yang building accidentally. If it were someone else, would they be able to do it? It is because of this I had no choice but to hide in Langya blessed land. Later on, things happened, and I joined Langya's sect. While living over there, I slowly discovered that the traits of variant humans were actually not weaker than humans. Their sincerity, trust, and loyalty, and so on far surpass the humans who always try to deceive each other. Although the 5 regions are vast, the survival space of variant humans is shrinking by the day. This is not right. Heavens will permit all living beings to exist. Variant humans and humans should indeed coexist. Fang Yuan's face did not show shame in the slightest when he said this. He even brought up Heaven's will, which was trying every way possible to eradicate him. Fang Yuan had a sincere expression, so vivid that it could not be more realistic. Shui Er's eyes even reddened from hearing these words. Shi Cheng was extremely moved. If other human Gu immortals were all as understanding and knowledgeable as Lord Fang Yuan, the world would be much better. In his words, he had already raised Fang Yuan from elder to lord, even speaking to him respectfully. Indeed, Fang Yuan's words were extremely politically correct as far as variant humans were concerned, inciting resonance and approval with their minds. But Elder Fang Yuan, you have yet to answer my question. Shui Er was intelligent and not easy to deceive. I was just getting there. Fang Yuan coughed. 88 true Yang buildings' destruction was not my intention. In fact, before I had reborn, it had never fallen. Is that so? Shui Er and Shi Cheng looked at each other. Northern Plains' situation has changed too much because of me. 88 true Yang building was destroyed. Ma Hongyun was kidnapped, and his possession of fortune rivaling Heaven Gu was exposed so quickly, with him being bought by old ancestor Shuehu. Before I was reborn, there was simply no event of old ancestor Shui who trying to refine fortune rivaling Heaven Gu. Fang Yuan added. These words were all true. Shui Er and Shi Cheng both chose to believe them. The former slightly pursed her lips. Then doesn't it mean it is difficult to deduce the result? If we really let old ancestor Shui who refined fortune rivaling Heaven Gu, the strength of Northern Plains human Gu immortals will rise by another level. Fang Yuan's thoughts turned, questioning. Could it be that you want to stop it? He had no choice but to admit this allied group of snowmen and rockmen had the power to interfere in this matter, because they had an immemorial rock dragon. This was a genuine rank 8 battle strength. Moreover, it was an existence which was very hard to deal with among rank 8 battle strengths. The immemorial rock dragon's might was recorded and emphasized heavily in the historical records. Of course not. Shi Cheng shook his head. We absolutely cannot interfere in this. Yes, we have been living peacefully here. Why would we expose ourselves and go offend a rank 8 expert? Moreover, this rank 8 expert controls snowy mountain-blessed land, with large numbers of demonic path experts under him. Shui Er also shook her head. They were very aware of the situation. Even if they seized fortune rivaling Heaven Gu for their own use, they would be exposing themselves, attracting the joint pursuit of the whole of Northern Plains Gu immortal world. All the human forces would come rushing over. At that time, forget fortune rivaling Heaven Gu. Even if there were several more immemorial rock dragons, they would be unable to stop the humans. Fang Yuan nodded and did not say anything, while inwardly pondering. These variant humans are indeed not ordinary. I have seen all the variant human goo immortals over these days. Each of them is an elite. Whether it be their battle strength or foresight, they are outstanding in both. Even among the Northern Plains human goo immortal circle, they would be excellent. When compared to them, Fan Grotto Heaven's goo immortals would be way behind. Fortunately, I had rank 8 battle strength with me. So what if he was an otherworldly demon? So what if he had spring autumn cicada and was a reborn person? These statuses and mysteries, when they were stacked on his rank 8 battle strength as foundation, they become a part of a glorious halo and not a source of trouble. When one had great strength, who would dare to find trouble? Rank 8 battle strength. With just a flick of their finger, they could crush others like ants. This was the reason the snowmen and rockmen not only did not dare to find trouble with Fang Yuan, they also expressed cordial stances and attempted to rope him in. Anyone of rank 8 battle strength was of sufficient value for others to rope in the absence of rank 9. Rank 8s were the overlords. This was already among the peak battle strength in the world. In fact, the whole of Northern Plains situation and structure is a result of rank 8 goo immortals conflicting with each other. The politics of a world having individuals with great strength is always dictated by the strongest people. Fang Yuan was well aware of this. But if they know my upper extreme heavenly eagle is already dead, I wonder what kind of expressions these people will have. Fang Yuan found it somewhat funny as he thought of this. He forcibly sped up the growth of the upper extreme heavenly eagle, using time path killer moves. But with insufficient heavenly crystals, it was on the verge of dying from hunger. He then used blood path methods to raise its vitality when he let it out, and successfully shook the variant human immortals. Relying on his bluffs and deception, he was able to survive and change the situation. However, the upper extreme heavenly eagle was like the last radiance of the setting sun. After Fang Yuan placed it in his immortal aperture, it died at almost the very next moment, an immemorial desolate beast dying of hunger. This life of the upper extreme heavenly eagle was indeed somewhat depressing. But that might not be the case in its next life. The upper extreme heavenly eagle's amazing trait was that it would produce an egg after its death. When the egg hatches, it would once again be reborn. It was true that Fang Yuan lost the immemorial desolate beast upper extreme heavenly eagle, but similarly, he obtained an upper extreme heavenly eagle's egg, and also the immemorial desolate beast giant corpse. He could completely accept this result, because first of all, Fang Yuan was not satisfied with this upper extreme heavenly eagle. He had to disguise as a person of He tribe's bloodline to command it. Secondly, many flaws appeared after the upper extreme heavenly eagle was forcefully grown. With rank 8 battle strength, how could such a grand being let Fang Yuan, a rank 6 goo immortal, control it? Let alone when the upper extreme heavenly eagle was an extremely prideful beast. It was certain that the upper extreme heavenly eagle would not listen when it was forcefully grown into being of rank 8 battle strength. There was even a huge possibility of it rebelling and turning against Fang Yuan because of its strong pride in itself. As a result, the upper extreme heavenly eagle dying was not bad news to Fang Yuan. As for the new egg, Fang Yuan could rely on the contents of He Fan's true inheritance to change it, tampering with its memories and so on, such that when it hatches, it would directly obey Fang Yuan. Old ancestor Shui, who was openly refining fortune rivaling heaven goo. The refinement path goo formation's light even shot up to the heavens, shining brightly for 7 days and 7 nights before it gradually dissipated. This matter caused strong turbulence in the whole of Northern Plains goo immortal world. However, after the shock, the goo immortal world of Northern Plains strangely quietened down. This was because Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu, Yao Huang, 5. Elements Grandmaster, and Prince Feng Xian had not responded yet. Without these rank 8 goo immortals speaking up, even if the other rank 6 and rank 7s clamored, it would be of no use. Being able to battle a rank 8 existence with rank 7 cultivation, within the last few thousand years of the 5 regions, only Feng Jiuge could do it. Old ancestor Shui, who did matters rampantly and tyrannically, but one had to say he not only had brawn but also brains, picking up such an extremely opportune time. This group of variant humans under the Northern Icy Plain also chose to watch by the sidelines. As for Fang Yuan himself, He similarly had no thoughts of participating in this matter. This matter was too big. It concerned the rank 8 great expert old ancestor Shui who, although Fang Yuan currently was stronger than before, if he interfered in this matter, he would easily be turned into mush.